Hi everyone, how are you? This is Luciano. Today I'm going to show you how I painted this portrait in Rebelle, and I'm showing you uh, some process and some details of how I did it. Well, in the first part, I just doing some kind of warm up. I'm testing the brushes features that Rebelle has, and I'm trying to find my favorite brushes so I can illustrate doing that illustration. And I really have always a lot of fun with Rebelle because I like the textures and the look of the brushes. I think it's amazing too. It's very interesting too. And I really like this kind of brush tool, this kind of pencil brush, I mean. And I'm just having fun trying to find these nice tools that I'm going to use later on in this painting. So, the first thing I did, I went to Pinterest. Pinterest still is a good uh, reference tool where we can find things, but just try to maybe avoid AI content, but this is not the case. We're not going to discuss it, but I just try to look for people that look like, have this kind of interesting look. So, uh, in the searching part, I'm putting words like unique people. So, when you look for unique people, unique faces, you are going to find very interesting people with different shapes, with different ethnicities, things like that. And that's what I really enjoy because we always try to find and do the perfect face, lovely, perfect proportions, using the best drawing method like Andrew Loomis or whatever kind of uh, measurement thing. But in the real life, we look different each other. So each face will have different features from each other. So when before I start really drawing, really painting, uh, I'm just studying this face, this lady face, these proportions, and how I can distort it to create this kind of a caricature style thing, caricature style illustration. So I choose a profile face because it could be more easier to develop, and at the same time I really like it, the shapes and the silhouette. I think that this is the kind of thing that I like it most when I was looking for a reference to use. And I do a bunch of studies. I do a lot of studies. So I'm just testing the tools. I'm testing the shapes, how I can, distort, and how I can, you know, we have these features: nose, chin, ears, the glasses, the hair. How I can, which will be bigger and or which will be smaller, so I can do a nice drawing. So I think that in this part, yeah, I'm already more confident. I could study and see how this lady's face looked like, and I'm going to do it very at first, very roughly, and I try to do this kind of silhouette, this very rough shape, and it's like a carving, but not exactly like carving. I'm trying mostly looking like for the spaces and how this lady's face and body uh, are. on the space in this kind of rectangular space, and I can use it as a place for measurements and things like that. I'm starting to add the details. I'm starting to drawing the things. I have glasses. I'm roughly sketching the glasses and her nose, and that's it. I'm just using the very first rough sketch to use as a guide. So now I can do a more polished, more precise drawing. And this drawing don't have to be the drawing is not the final result of my illustration. This drawing is more to guide me to the painting. So it can be a very dirty, not so clean, not so clean drawing. It can be a very, not very, but a bit dirty. These lines not so precise, things like that. I can use Liquify. This is kind of a thing that uh, digital painting softwares have. This is Liquify, how to use it to help me on how to change things. We can cut it, paste, you know, change these proportions. So this is part of the drawing. I'm going to in this video this part. Now we are just watching this. This is how I did. Once I decided how to do the painting, how to do the drawing, this is the first. This is the part where I set the things that will help me later on the painting process. And I think that's a nice way to study. I think I really like doing this kind of illustration, more based in real life. Study the subject, like this lady's face, and you can learn a lot from it. How to, at first of all, how to paint better, how to observe better things, and I think that observation, how to observe, how to measure, it's just the thing that helps a lot artists. And it also helps us on creating, building this library in our brains, in our heads, and that's it. I'm now this part. I always try to paint from background to the foreground because I think that works better. And I we can see the silhouette. They are blurred. You know, all these guys on the background, and I'm just using some brush strokes to represent them. I am more focused on painting the lady than the characters. I could do a better job on the characters, I think, but I was more focused on the lady in the foreground. And again, I'm adding the local colors that I consider, and you know, the color of the object, not exactly the color of the shadow of the light. And I'm using blending modes. I really like blend modes because it helps a lot. And I'm using multiply with this kind of blue, and I'm can use merge to create transitions, and multiply will be my shadow part, and then I can add the light source, the light colors in a different blend mode or the normal blend mode, but blend modes I can use them to separate light from shadow when I am using a kind of local color. So uh, when you have this kind of picture as this reference, I'm always also uh, trying to uh, find the light source, where the lights are coming from. And we can see that her face, her back, it's more on the light side, and her face, her breast are more like in the shadow part. So we have to consider this kind of thing. This is one of the things that you have to look for before anything else. Before you start really drawing and painting, we have to take a time and see what happened. You know, you see where the lights, if it's sun, if it's not natural light, if it's more like a lamp light or something like that. It's not natural. And I'm also looking for the colors, how if it's more warm color, if it's more cooler color. I think that this one it's more like a we have more warm colors on the light side, and we will have more cool colors on the shadow part. And I see that some parts of her are more grayish. It's not like super saturated colors, super orange or super red. Some parts are more darker, you know. I'm always try to avoid the color picker. I try to do it by, just watching, seeing, and I try to fit it the better possible. And again, I start always using big brush strokes, and then when I have to add details, I can zoom in and define the borders that should be more defined. I go there and define them. Some details that are important, I go there and start painting them, and that's it. So just try to find unique faces, this kind of references. Find people that looks like have an amazing and interesting look, and try to draw them, try to paint them. You are going to learn lots of things like how to paint hair, how to paint light and shadows, how to paint cast shadows, how to paint cloth, how to paint drapery folds, hair, reflections, you know, things like that. How to paint skin, it's important. People have skin. People use cloth in most part of the day. Yeah, yeah, this is my signature. Yeah, should have some kind of a signature as well. And that's it. This is the final result. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Thank you.